Throughout the next day, Friday, the unrelenting pain grew nearly intolerable. Still determined to carry out my motherly duties, I dragged my ravaged body through the motions of preparing the kids for school and loading them into the car. My husband Dave had helped awaken them, but had to drive himself to work before they needed to leave. I dropped the kids off at their respective morning locations and immediately turned home to my couch. From there, I called my boss to say I couldn't get to the office and that I'd try to work at home. However, I hardly managed to get anything done. Before I knew it, I faced the harrowing task of picking up the kids from school. That evening, I ordered a pizza. Dave was still at work and there was no way I could prepare a meal. Later, severe heartburn, likely caused by the greasy pizza, and a lingering urinary tract infection stacked on top of the intense neck pain created the perfect storm. By Saturday morning, I could barely hold myself up due to the excruciating pain. I conceded that I needed to see a doctor. As bad luck would have it, it was the 3-day Labor Day weekend. I always tried to be respectful of the rules, so I patiently or foolishly waited until the doctor's office opened the following Tuesday morning to call for an appointment. In hindsight, the emergency room might have been a better choice, but since I wasn't hemorrhaging or sporting any visibly broken bones, I suspect I would have been relegated to the back of the line anyway. After all, I wouldn't die from pain. I'd only suffer. I spent the entire weekend horizontal, feeling as if a knife were penetrating my neck. I continued to think, pray, that the pain would go away at any moment. Some relief came when I lay down with a pillow under my head just at the right angle, but it was fleeting. The piercing pain kept returning and spread to encompass my whole left shoulder. The pain was as intense as and came in waves like labor pains. Labor had felt like an 18-wheeler were driving back and forth over my abdomen. My neck pain felt like the big rig was parked on my neck and shoulder. It would occasionally roll off, only to roll right back on again. Dave combed through our medicine cabinet and found some leftover prescription-strength ibuprofen that I took in the hope of at least decreasing the pain. I couldn't tell if it was doing anything. I lay on the couch or the bed, at times succumbing to uncharacteristic tears because of the overwhelming pain. On Saturday, as I lay immobile, I asked Dave to make sure the kids got some lunch. When I returned from the kitchen, he proudly announced that he'd made both the girls a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. At that moment, I realized no one knew how to care for me. Although I concede I didn't specifically ask Dave to make me lunch, too. I'd spent the last 10.5 years mothering my children. Now I desperately needed someone to take care of me. Yet I lay on the couch, hurting, hungry. Who mothers the mother, I wondered. To his credit, Dave did care for the girls over the weekend. He ferried them to their lessons, parties, and playdates. He fed them and tucked them into bed at night. Luckily, at ages 10 and 4, they were old enough to dress and groom themselves and find snacks on their own. Rest and ibuprofen did little to ease my pain. Plus, I was too debilitated and the pain was too acute for me to try any other remedies. By Sunday, the first 2 fingers on my left hand were numb. I felt as if my body were saying, "Enough is enough, I can't take it anymore." It was sending a clear message that it had hit the proverbial wall. Was my body telling me it couldn't keep up with working overtime and the demands of motherhood? Or was there more to it than my body's painful protest to chronic overdoing? The inciting incident? As I pondered the cause of my misery, I recalled a rafting trip I'd taken with several coworkers 13 years earlier. I was a spry 27-year-old then, still dabbling in gymnastics at a local gym, and I was probably stronger than most of the others who'd helped carry our 8-person whitewater raft out to the water. We had to travel about 50 yards while holding the raft over our heads. As we walked, the raft tilted with nearly all of its weight on my corner. I struggled to keep my arms straight. Hoping to readjust my hands so I could push the raft as high as possible, I rested it on my head for a moment. The raft bounced down hard on the top of my head and compressed my neck. My neck hurt, but not enough to stop me from continuing our rafting adventure. I'd learned long before how to work through pain and injuries. However, on the hour-long trip home, the real pain came. With every slight acceleration of the car, the subtle backward movement of my head sent nearly intolerable stabs of pain through my neck. After a couple of days with a severely stiff neck, the pain subsided, and I went on with life. However, the range of motion in my neck remained forever compromised. Luckily, though, most activities in life don't require tucking your chin far in toward your chest. That is, unless you're doing gymnastics, which I still was. It never occurred to me to see a doctor about my neck, as it mostly affected only a couple acrobatic moves. A few times when I ventured out on a jog, I'd get a cramp in the right side of my neck and upper shoulder. But since I wasn't out to become a marathon runner, I didn't worry too much about it. Following logic, I concluded that the raft incident was likely the underlying cause of the rollover accident in my bed.